Chapter 2, The Shadow Theatre. The door clicked shut behind him, and the sound echoed like a gunshot in a silent cathedral. Blackhaven's entrance hall dissolved into a swirl of grey mist, and when Ethan blinked, the floor beneath his feet had changed from polished stone to rotting wood. He was standing in the center of an abandoned theater. The air was thick with dust and the cloying scent of burnt velvet. Rows of empty seats stretched toward a stage shrouded in heavy crimson curtains. A chandelier tilted dangerously overhead, its crystals dulled by grime. The only light came from a few flickering bulbs along the walls, casting long, warped shadows. Ethan took a slow breath. He was still in the same coat, still empty-handed. His phone was dead, a brick in his pocket. He had no weapon, no tool, no information except the crumpled note hidden in his inner breast pocket, the one he'd found in the entryway before the fog swallowed him. Do not trust the one in red. He wasn't alone. For other people stood scattered around the auditorium, each frozen in the moment of arrival. A heavy-set man with a scarred jaw was leaning against a pillar, his knuckles white. A teenage girl clutched a backpack to her chest, her eyes wide and wet. A thin man in horn-rimmed glasses was muttering to himself, pacing in tight circles. And near the stage, a woman in a crimson dress stood perfectly still, her dark hair pinned up, her face unreadable. She met Ethan's gaze for a fraction of a second. Her eyes were old, older than her face suggested. No one spoke. The theater held its breath. Then a woman's voice filled the air, smooth and distorted, as if spoken through water. Welcome to the performance. The rules are simple. A projector whirred to life, casting harsh white letters on the wall beside the stage. *1. When the music plays, you must close your eyes. *2. Keep them shut until the music ends. *3. If you open your eyes while the music plays, the shadow on the stage will claim you. *4. The performance lasts until the final act. The text lingered for a moment, then faded. Break a leg, the voice whispered, and the echo of laughter spiraled through the empty rows. The heavy-set man swore under his breath. The girl started crying. The thin man stopped pacing and stared at the stage as if expecting something to burst through the curtains. Ethan catalogued the exits. 2 doors at the back, both covered in rusted chains. A side passage to the left, partially hidden by a torn drape. The stage itself, no visible way behind the curtain from the audience. He would need to explore. The woman in red walked toward him, her heels clicking softly on the warped boards. "First time?" she asked. "Does it show? You're still breathing normally." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I'm Evelyn. I've been through 3 of these." Ethan didn't correct her about the name. He remembered the note. "Any advice? Follow the rules. Stay alive. And if you survive, we can talk about the bigger picture." She nodded toward the stage. "This one is a theater. The aberration hides in the performance. Music is its cue. You know what it is. A ghost. An actress who died on stage. The details change, but the pattern is the same." She glanced around. "I'll check the dressing rooms. You take the wings. Don't trust the curtains." She moved toward the side passage without waiting for a reply. Ethan watched her go. The red dress swayed like a warning flag. He touched the note in his pocket and made a decision to follow his own path. The thin man approached him, wringing his hands. "What do we do? We can't just wait here." "We search," Ethan said. "Look for anything connected to the actress. Diaries, photos, letters. The more we understand her, the better. But the music, if it starts while we're separated, then close your eyes. It's that simple." The thin man didn't look reassured, but he nodded and shuffled toward the back rows. Ethan turned and walked down the center aisle toward the stage. The boards groaned under his weight. He stopped at the orchestra pit and peered down, empty, dust-covered. The curtains loomed above him, heavy and still. He stepped around to the side and found a narrow door marked "Cast Only." It swung open at his touch. The backstage area was a labyrinth of collapsed set pieces, moldering costumes, and forgotten props. A vanity table stood against one wall, its mirror cracked. On the table lay a hairbrush with strands of dark hair still tangled in the bristles. Next to it, an open diary. Ethan picked it up. The pages were yellowed, the ink faded but legible. March the 12th, 1923. Rehearsals are going well, but Alice is watching me. She wears red in every scene now, as if to mock me. Richard says I'm imagining things, but I saw her hands on the lamp before she left last night. She wants my role. She wants the spotlight. I won't let her have it. He flipped further. March the 18th. The new play is cursed, they say. But it's just an old superstition. I will give the performance of my life. Opening night. The theatre will be full. I have a surprise for the finale. Something that will make them remember Lydia Devane forever. The next page was torn. The remaining pages were blank. Ethan tucked the diary into his jacket. Lydia. The actress. Alice in red, the rival. The woman downstairs wore red. Evelyn. He filed the connection. A violin note cut through the air, long and piercing. Ethan froze. The music began a slow, melancholy waltz, drifting from unseen speakers. It seemed to come from the walls, from the floor, from the very dust in the air. He closed his eyes instantly. He counted his breaths. 1, 2, 3. The melody wrapped around him, tugging at something deep in his chest. He felt a draft, as if a door had opened, and then the soft footfall of something walking across the stage above. A scream tore through the theatre. It was the man with the scarred jaw. The scream cut off abruptly. The music played on. Ethan forced himself to stay still. His eyelids twitched with the urge to open, to see, to understand. But he held. The note said not to trust the one in red. The rules said keep your eyes shut. He followed the rules. The music stopped. Silence. Ethan opened his eyes. The heavyset man was gone. A single boot lay in the middle of the aisle, still laced. The teenage girl was sobbing in her seat, her hands covering her face. The thin man was shaking. Evelyn stood by the side passage, her arms crossed, her expression unreadable. He opened his eyes. The girl whimpered. He said he saw something moving behind the curtain. He opened just a crack and then something pulled him into the stage. Ethan looked at the stage. The curtains were motionless. Evelyn walked toward him. He broke the rule. Don't. I know, Ethan said. But why would he open his eyes? He wasn't stupid. Fear. The music does something. It calls. Some people can't resist looking. Ethan was not satisfied. He moved toward the stage and climbed the 3 steps to the apron. The boards were old but solid. He pushed the curtain aside and stepped through. The backstage was dark, but a faint light seeped from a single bulb above a dressing room door. He walked toward it. The floorboards creaked. The dressing room was small. A chair. A mirror. A costume rack with a white dress burnt, charred, hanging like a ghost. On the dressing table, an envelope addressed to Lydia. He opened it. Inside, a single sheet of paper. Lydia, I know what you plan. Do not go through with it. The lamp is not safe. He read it twice. A warning from Alice? Or a threat? He pocketed it. The music started again. This time it was faster, a frantic jig, almost carnival-like. Ethan was backstage, away from the others. He dropped to his knees and shut his eyes. The tune was loud, abrasive, like nails on a chalkboard. He felt something brush past him, a cold wind, or a hand. He didn't move. The music went on for nearly a minute. Then silence. He opened his eyes. The dressing room door was now open, though he was sure he had closed it. He stood and walked back to the stage. The thin man was gone. Only the girl and Evelyn remained. The girl was huddled in a corner, her face buried in her backpack. He was right next to me, she sobbed. He closed his eyes, but when the music stopped, he just fell over. He's dead. His heart stopped. Ethan looked at the body on the floor. The thin man lay crumpled in the aisle, no visible wounds. His eyes were open, staring at nothing. He kept his eyes closed, Ethan said slowly. He followed the rule. Evelyn shrugged. Maybe he had a heart condition. Unlikely. Ethan crouched beside the body and checked the pulse. Nothing. The skin was cold, as if he'd been dead for hours. Something got him without him opening his eyes. Then the rule is a lie. The girl looked up, terror in her face. No, Ethan said, standing. The rule is true, but it's incomplete. The aberration doesn't only attack when you open your eyes. It attacks when you're vulnerable. The music is a cue, but what if there's a second layer? He looked at Evelyn. You know more than you're telling. Her face hardened. I told you what I know. Don't trust me if you don't want to, but we're running out of time. The final act is coming. A loud gong reverberated through the theater. The stage lights flickered on, casting a dull red glow. The curtain began to rise on its own, revealing a set, a bedroom with a four-poster bed, a vanity, and a single lamp on a small table. The girl screamed and covered her eyes. The music started again, slow, mournful, a lullaby. Ethan did not close his eyes. He watched as a figure materialized on the bed. A woman in a white gown, her skin blackened and cracked, her hair smoking embers. She turned her head slowly and looked directly at him. The girl was whimpering, her eyes shut tight. Evelyn stood rigid, but her eyes were open too. You can see her, Ethan said. I've always been able to, Evelyn replied. She only comes for those who close their eyes. She can't touch you if you look. The aberration slid off the bed and began to walk toward the edge of the stage. Its feet left scorch marks on the boards. The rule was designed to keep people from seeing her, Ethan said. But if you look, you see the truth. The trap was, if you close your eyes, she can reach into your mind, stop your heart. The only way to survive is to keep your eyes open when the music plays. That's what I've been doing, Evelyn said. The girl let out a choked sob. She had her eyes squeezed shut, but her body was shaking. We need to make her stop, Ethan said. She's not just attacking. She's reliving her death. We need to end the performance. He stepped onto the stage. The aberration stopped, her head tilted. Lydia, he said. Her eyes, two coals of dark fire, fixed on him. I read your diary. I know you planned a surprise for the finale. You were going to fake a fall, steal the show. But the lamp fell. It was an accident. Alice tried to warn you. The aberration's mouth opened, but only a whisper came out. She wanted my role. She wore red. She pushed. She didn't. I found her note. She knew the lamp was faulty. She tried to stop you. Ethan pulled the envelope from his pocket and held it up. She wrote this. She cared. The aberration wavered. The flames on her gown flickered. From the wings, a voice spoke. It's true. Evelyn stepped into the light. She was no longer wearing the red dress, it had faded, replaced by a simple grey shift. Her face was younger, softer. I'm Alice, she said. I've been living with this guilt for almost 100 years. I didn't push you, Lydia. I was afraid for you. When the lamp caught, I tried to reach you, but the flames were too fast. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The aberration stared at her. The fire dimmed, revealing a young woman underneath, pale and beautiful, tears streaking her cheeks. You're still here, Lydia whispered. I never left, Alice said. Every time this trial opens, I'm pulled back. I've been waiting to tell you the truth. Lydia stepped down from the stage and stood before her. The flames died completely. The two women looked at each other, and then Lydia nodded once, a tremor in her jaw. I forgive you, she said. The theater groaned. The walls began to peel like old paper, revealing a white void beyond. The stage lights flickered and died. When light returned, Ethan was standing in the center of a small, empty stage. Before him lay two items, a crystalline shard shaped like a puzzle piece, glowing with faint blue light, and a small, worn book titled the faded script star. He picked them up. The moment his fingers touched the shard, he felt a surge of energy, not painful, but deep, like an echo in his bones. The fog rolled in, and Black Haven reformed around him. He was back in the entrance hall, standing on the blood-red carpet. The fireplace crackled. The chandelier cast warm light. A grandfather clock ticked in the corner. He was alive. A door opened to his left. A woman with tired eyes and steady hands stepped out. She wore a worn leather jacket and had a stethoscope around her neck. "You survived," she said. "Congratulations. I'm Maya. I'll help you get oriented." Ethan looked at the shard in his hand. "What is this?" "A puzzle fragment. You need 12 of them to open the final gate. Each trial gives you one, if you complete the condition." "And the book?" "A peculiar artifact. They have special properties. You'll learn to use them, but be careful, some have costs." Ethan nodded. He felt hollow, exhausted, but alert. Maya gestured to a chair by the fire. "Sit. I'll explain the Bloodgate system. The short version: Blackhaven sits between the grey and the real world. The trial gates lead to corrupted fragments of the world. Each time you enter, you risk your life. But the fragments you collect can reset everything if you reach the final gate. Reset. Restore the world before the grey spread. But it's not simple. There are factions. And there are others who want the fragments for themselves." Ethan sat, and Maya spoke for an hour. He learned about the 8 gates, the 12 fragments, and the architect, a madman who had built the system. He learned about the Gate of Threads, a shadow group that manipulated trials. Through it all, he felt the diary in his pocket, the note, and the weight of the new knowledge. When Maya finished, he asked, "Where do I go next?" She studied him. "You get a rest period, usually a day or 2. But the next gate will call you when it's ready. In the meantime, get some sleep. You'll need it." She stood and walked toward the door. Before leaving, she paused. "One more thing. There's an old saying in Blackhaven, the fragments whisper. Don't trust everything they tell you." The door closed. Ethan sat alone in the firelight, the shard cold in his palm. He opened the faded script and read the first line. Act 1, the reflection in still water. He closed the book and stared into the flames. Somewhere in the house, a floorboard creaked. He was not alone. But for now, he was alive and the performance had only just begun.